Okay, welcome back to assembling your own PC. Right now we're going to go ahead and move forward with our process. We're going to go ahead and put this part of our case back on because there's really no need to have it off right now. The whole purpose was to get the motherboard set, and now that the motherboard is set, we're just going to go ahead and place this back on. And on this particular board case, if you look right here, you'll see hinges along the side. In this case, is just going to slide right on. Now it's on. I'm just going to get the screws for it. Put the screws back on it. I'm going to turn it on its side. Put the other screws on it. There's two at the bottom to hold this side. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert our power source. And it's going to go in this compartment right here, right through the front, right through the side, and the back is going to go through there. I'm going to lay it down because the power source is heavy and I don't want it to fall on my motherboard and ruin it. These are your different connectors to your power source. The big one being your main connection. It connects to the motherboard and it gives the motherboard the power. There's also a small connector. It's a 4-prong connector that also goes on the motherboard, and it is also for power. Both of those need to be attached if your motherboard calls for it. Your other connectors will explain it. So right now we're going to grab hold of all of our cords. We're going to place the power connector in the motherboard very carefully. Once you get it in and you get it safely past your motherboard, then you can just slide it inside the case. This particular power source has 2 screws to hold it in place. We're going to go ahead and screw those in. You want to make sure your power source is secure, very secure. You also want to make sure it's on the off position. You also want to make sure it is set for the 120 volt. We use 120 volts in the United States. In other countries they use the other setting, which is the 220 setting. Okay, we have our power source. It is secure. Once you get that in, it's going to look just like this. And as you can see, your PC is starting to come together. The next thing we're going to install is your hard drive. We're going to go ahead and make sure we keep ourselves grounded. You're going to, if you look at your hard drive, there's This area back here with all of the components on it, you want to make sure you don't touch it. We're going to place it with the connections outward. This particular drive, it does not require any screws to hold it in place. And it only fits in one direction. And it just slides all the way down. And once I get it firmly in place, I'm going to pull my lever that secures it, and that holds it in tight. And once you get that in, it's going to look just like that. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our floppy disk. And the floppy connector, you can just pull that off if it's already attached. You insert your floppy drive. You want to make sure it's front side up. It's not upside down. You can take it straight through the front and slide it back. My floppy drive connection, or my drive slot, it also does not require screws once I get the faceplate on. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to go ahead and put my connector back on. Actually, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to go ahead and put in my CD drive. And I'm also going to insert my CD drive through the front, making sure that it is right side up. And it also does not require screws to hold it into place. I'm going to go ahead and get my power cords. Now, my power cord to my hard drive, these are going to be used, all of the drives that I'm using will use the Molex connector, and it just connects in one direction. There is no right or wrong way for it. It'll only fit on one way. I'm going to go ahead and connect my floppy. Now my floppy connector is a little different. It is a 4-pin connection. It also only fits on one way. This is to connect my power source to my floppy. And then we're going to go ahead and connect. We're going to go ahead and connect the our CD drive. It also gets connected with the Molex connector. The floppy is the only one that uses the burp connector, which is a completely different drive. And on our next section, we're going to talk about how we connect our cords, our cables, along with our PCI cards. We're going to go ahead and insert those on the next section. Alrighty.